The first round of your fantasy football draft is obviously very important. You're investing the highest draft capital into these players that you're taking with the top 12 selections. You get one pick inside the top 12, unless you have some weird draft trading rules that I don't know about. But the first round of your fantasy draft should go like this. Mason Dodd from Flock Fantasy is kind enough to let us use his comparison tool, totally free on flockfantasy.com. Take a look at the guys we have up. Ja'Marr Chase, Jefferson. Now listen, in terms of ADP, a lot of people like Ja'Marr Chase as the number one. A lot of people like Jefferson as the number two. But we ain't cookie cutter here. I'm going to tell you guys the best 12 players to go in order in the first round of your draft. Ja'Marr Chase is my consensus overall number one, first overall selection. Now we have a bunch of videos that are coming out and or are already out about where I like drafting the most in the first round. I actually don't like having a top 4 selection in the draft this year. But Ja'Marr Chase at number one, you are getting a pristine top-level player, top-level talent. Looking at this guy, man, like 24 PPR points per game in 2025. Well, we love that in 2025. In 2024, he was the wide receiver one with that points per game value. He was on the field the entire time. As long as Joe Burrow is healthy, Ja'Marr Chase is going to be elite this year. League winning. Now, yes, you can't exactly say Ja'Marr Chase will be the number one finisher in points in 2025, but the reason you're taking him at number one is because it's more than likely that he'll be at least top 6. It's not like, oh, Ja'Marr Chase, if he's healthy, he's going to finish as, maybe wide receiver 10. Like that, his floor is wide receiver 5 and above. So Ja'Marr Chase is a very safe pick right here at number one. He averaged over 100 receiving yards in 2024 as well. Now, the number 2 spot is where things get interesting. There's 3 or 4 players that I think you can take at number 2 to make things interesting. I'm going RB as my second overall player. I'm on the clock at number 2. I'm going Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, he averaged 22.2 PPR points per game. He was the RB1 in points per game in 2024. Bijan Robinson is on his back. Bijan Robinson is actually going to be my number 3 overall selection as well. Now, again, you can take this a whole different way. You can go wide receiver, which we'll talk about coming up here soon. Saquon versus Bijan. Listen, Bijan is actually better than what you're seeing here. Bijan, 20.1 PPR points per game. But if we filter out the first 7 weeks of the season, and we just go, all right, weeks 8 to 18, don't forget, Bijan started slow the first half of the year. You filter out the entire second half, and he was 22.5 points per game. He was better than Saquon Barkley if you take Saquon's whole season versus Bijan's second half. So Bijan Robinson has that elite ceiling, and the reason that Bijan Robinson might be more exciting than Saquon in like a vacuum, obviously you have the age. Saquon had a bigger workload. Saquon, are they going to reduce Saquon's amount of touches? That's the buzz. That's great. Listen, Bijan Robinson is interesting because of the receiving role. Look at Bijan. He had 23 receiving yards per game. He had, where's the targets? He had 4.4 targets per game compared to Saquon, only 2.7. So the Bijan Robinson receiving upside, you'd think, oh, wow, the Bijan Robinson receiving upside definitely is great. The Bijan Robinson receiving upside is definitely there. That's amazing. The Eagles' tougher schedule, while it might reduce the number of rushing yards, the number of rushing attempts that Saquon Barkley gets, I think it'll have the opposite effect on the number of receptions and targets that Saquon Barkley gets. Now, there is a chance that the Eagles' offense just has too many weapons and those targets funnel elsewhere, maybe to Goddard. If Goddard's healthy, that's definitely a possibility. But I like Saquon at the number 2 spot. I just think that the floor is obviously very, very high with Saquon. He's going to get involved in the red zone. Yes, Jalen Hurts is going to steal some of his touches. But Saquon Barkley as a receiver, if we pull up Saquon, and now we're over here, we're taking a look at his career. Taking a look at Saquon Barkley's career stats, he was a receiving back the first couple of years in his career in New York. 6 receptions per game. 4 receptions per game the first 2 years of his career. And then even as recent in 2022, he was averaging 5 targets per game. So we know Saquon Barkley can handle a higher receiving role. So I think, it's not like, oh, he has brick hands. He doesn't. So Saquon Barkley at number 2 is fine. Bijan at number 3, again, interchangeable. Number 4, number 5, either of these guys can also be number 2. I'm going Jefferson 4. I'm going CeeDee Lamb number 5. I think all of these guys have high floors. CeeDee Lamb's a bit concerning because you have Dak Prescott. He was banged up. CeeDee Lamb himself was banged up last season. I like Jefferson more than Lamb just because Jefferson has proven he is quarterback proof. Now, who do I prefer quarterback situation? You got the unproven rookie with McCarthy, and then you have the Dak Prescott, who is QB3, QB7 finishes in his career. So CeeDee Lamb, I think, is actually in a better spot positionally in terms of quarterback play. But Jefferson's proven he doesn't need a quarterback. Jefferson's a better elite talent. You got Jefferson coming in at 18.7 PPR points per game in 2024 with Sam Darnold as his quarterback. He had more receiving yards than CeeDee Lamb. Looking at his yards per target, it was better. Yards per out run was better. It's no question. I'm going Jefferson over CeeDee Lamb. It's really just a matter of, is Jefferson better than Bijan? Is Jefferson better than Saquon? And to that, I tell you this. Take a look at your round 2, round 3, round 4 projected available selections. When you're at pick number 2, you're also going to be on the way back around pick number 23. At pick number 23, the running backs that are going to be available, you got like Kyren Williams, you got Chase Brown. I'm taking Saquon and Bijan in a whole other echelon than those two guys, especially Kyren Williams. Whereas if we look at wide receivers that'll be available, Tyreek Hill, that's pretty solid. I'll take him as my wide receiver 1. You got Ladd McConkey going to be available. I'm not a big fan of T. Higgins, but I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba is ADP of 33 in my rankings, right? So there's going to be wide receiver 1s available that you can project out to have a high involvement. They can potentially be wide receiver 1s. So that's why I have the running backs slightly ahead right here at the 2-3 spot and the wide receivers at the 4-5 spot. But either of these guys, definitely okay with going at number 2. Number 6 is Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, I wouldn't go ahead and take Gibbs at the number 2 spot, but I'd be okay if you take Gibbs as high as 4 or 5. Now, the reason I like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot is because we saw what he could do without David Montgomery. When Jahmyr Gibbs was the sole running back in this offense, Jahmyr Gibbs was truly insane. He averaged 21 points per game. Receiving yards was 30 receiving yards per game. Listen, let's pull up Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey in his prime, let's just say 2021. Hopefully this was a year where he was healthy. Christian McCaffrey, it wasn't. So RB5 finish, so McCaffrey was not healthy in 2021. McCaffrey has been injured 3 out of 8 seasons. There's just been complete bust. But this was a year where he was healthy, and you can see he was the RB2, 21 points per game. He averaged 44, so that's the threshold. 6 targets per game, 44 receiving yards per game for McCaffrey in this insane 2022 season. Jahmyr Gibbs, in a timeshare, averaged 30 receiving yards per game, averaged 4 targets per game. His snap percent was only 56%. So compare the snap percentages we see here. McCaffrey was at 75, Jahmyr Gibbs was at 56. You have the new OC. David Montgomery is under a new contract. I think it's a two-ish year contract for Montgomery. Montgomery was banged up. Montgomery's older. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get vultured in the red zone by David Montgomery, but I still think Jahmyr Gibbs can take a step forward in both rushing efficiency and receiving involvement. Now, it is a question, what if Ben Johnson leaving screws this entire Lions offense? I don't think it's going to happen. The Lions offense has too many pieces with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, Jameson Williams. They just drafted their Isaac TeSlaa, so now they're special. I'm not saying he's a wide receiver, but now their special teams is also going to be solid. Jahmyr Gibbs, clear favorite as my RB3 over McCaffrey right here, but I do have Jahmyr Gibbs coming in at number 6. At number 7, I do have Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey has busted 3 out of 8 seasons. 3 seasons out of 8, you lose. You lose. You don't draft Isaac Guerrero, don't draft Jordan Mason and tell me, listen, I got the backup, we're good to go. If McCaffrey's hurt, your season's over. Simple as that. It's hard to recover, man. Trust me, I tried last year. It's tough. Now, the 5 seasons McCaffrey has been healthy, McCaffrey has actually won you your league. His worst finish, I believe, is RB3 in a healthy season, and the other 4 were RB2, RB1. Taking a look at his entire career, you can see right here, 2020 injured, 2021 injured, 2024 injured. You lost your league in all 3 of those years. The rest of them, RB3 finish, RB2 finish, RB1 finish, RB2, and RB1. So taking out his rookie year when he was healthy in RB3, which is still really good, he was RB2 or better. McCaffrey's healthy, you're winning your league. Now, if you have a punishment in your league, would not recommend taking him as high as number 7. Maybe see if he falls. I mean, it is a high-risk pick right here with McCaffrey, but it's a pick that you can win. The upside is there. This guy could be the number 1 overall in total points if he is healthy, which is a big if. Number 8, I have wide receivers coming back on the board. I got Puka Nacua at number 8. Number 9, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown. And number 10, we're almost at the end of the first round, I got Malik Nabers. This is an interesting tier of guys as well, in the fact that, between the number 8 overall pick, I'd be fine if you take Nabers at number 8. I'd be fine if you take Amon-Ra St. Brown at number 8, but all 3 of these receivers should be the next guys off your board. Puka Nacua I'm taking because I think he has the highest ceiling. possible of these guys. Looking at the yards per route run, sure, Malik Nabers had a very good rookie season, one of the best rookie seasons from a wide receiver ever. 18 points per game with the trash quarterback play. You got Russell Wilson in there now. Russell Wilson should elevate this offense. I am actually high on Malik Nabers. I think Malik Nabers has a higher ceiling than Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown ahead of, sandwiched in between, because I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, his floor is just very high. Like, you're not going to be getting insane, like 150-yard gains from Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's more of that middle threat where it's like, 12, 15-yard receptions. But he plays through injury, he plays banged up, and he doesn't miss time. Amon-Ra St. Brown does not miss time. That's a very important thing. Whereas Puka Nacua, who I actually have ahead of him, I think Puka is actually going to be somebody that has... Puka can average 21 points per game in fantasy. It's a matter of can he stay healthy. So I think Puka is the riskiest option of the three with probably a very high ceiling. I think Malik Nabers is also up there in terms of the same ceiling height as Puka. It's just a bit more unproven, maybe a bit riskier, and he has the worst offense of these three. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the middle. Amon-Ra St. Brown, we know he's going to have a solid season. He might not be a wide receiver 1 finisher, but he should be a wide receiver 7 or better at the end of the year. And you're not concerned, like, oh, he had knee surgery. This guy played with a broken leg, and he plays through injury. Trust me, he's fine. So these are the next 3 guys off the board. We have 2 more picks to finish up the first round, and this is why I love drafting at the end of the round. And there's some good talent still available. Number 11, you guys won't expect this. I actually have De'Von Achane over Ashton Jenney, and I'm fine doing that. De'Von Achane, I've had him here before the Jonnu Smith news. De'Von Achane, you can compare him to Jahmyr Gibbs. You can compare him to Christian McCaffrey. Between Gibbs and Achane, they can both be McCaffrey 2.0. Achane, 35 receiving yards per game. 5 targets per game. 62% snap share. Tua Tagovailoa was not healthy. They weren't even in the red zone. He still averaged RB6 from a points per game perspective. If Tua Tagovailoa was healthy, if this team gets more red zone opportunities, De'Von Achane, maybe he scores more. This guy could be the RB1 in fantasy, and that's not even an exaggeration. I think he could beat Saquon, he could beat Bijan. He's going to have probably a better, more involved receiving role than either of those first 2 running backs off the board at the 2-3 spot. So I actually have Achane inside my top 12, inside the first round selection of your fantasy drafts. Now, finishing out at pick number 12, it's going back to receiver, and there's a couple here. There's BTJ and there's Nico. Genty, I have Genty sliding out of the first round. So Genty is the big loser, as well as Brian Thomas Jr. I have Nico Collins at number 12, and I have BTJ at number 13, which is not what we're talking about. Round 2, guys, I have BTJ at 13. I have Genty at 14. They just missed the mark. But Nico Collins finishes out round 1 right here. This is why, if you're the 12th pick, you're going to get somebody like Nico Collins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you'll be able to pair him up with Achane, Genty, BTJ. So the second half of round 1, you're really getting 2 first-round league-winning talents. But Nico Collins, I just think his ceiling is higher. I think he's going to have a better quarterback play. You got C.J. Stroud versus Trevor Lawrence. Stroud obviously had the sophomore slump. Can he bounce back and be what he was in the first year? Can Nico Collins stay healthy? That's definitely a concern. But looking at the underlying metrics, he had more receiving yards per game than BTJ. His yards per route run was 3.92, which is an insane metric. And I think he's going to be a bit more involved in the red zone, a bit more of a bigger bodied guy. So Nico Collins comes in to finish up the first round. But BTJ and Ashton Jenney are both going to be very solid round 2 selections. Then A.J. Brown, then Brock Bowers. And I actually have a bit of a tier drop off once you get to around the 18th, 19th pick, which is why I don't like picking in the first half of that first round. That is how the first round should go in your fantasy football draft. Let me know what you think. Smash like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.